Ever wondered what people did for fun before Netflix and video games? Well, let me take you back in time about 2,000 years to the heart of the mighty Roman Empire. Forget your popcorn and comfy sofa. We're talking about entertainment on a scale so grand, so spectacular, it still echoes through history. From the roar of the crowd in the Colosseum to the thunder of hooves in the Circus Maximus, Roman entertainment was the original blockbuster, and you had to be there to believe it. So, grab your imaginary toga and let's dive into the world of gladiators, chariot races, and epic festivals that kept an entire empire captivated. This wasn't just about having a good time. It was the lifeblood of the city, a way for emperors to connect with their people, and a spectacle of power, wealth, and pure, unadulterated drama. Let's start with the big one, the image that flashes into everyone's mind when they think of Rome, the gladiators. Imagine this. You're one of 50,000 spectators packed into the colossal Flavian Amphitheater, better known as the Colosseum. The sun is beating down, the crowd is a deafening roar of anticipation, and the air is thick with excitement. The emperor himself is present, and down on the sand-covered arena floor, the fate of warriors is about to be decided. Gladiators weren't just random fighters. They were highly trained, specialized combatants, almost like the superstar athletes of their day. They came from all walks of life, prisoners of war, condemned criminals, and even some free men who volunteered for the chance at fame and fortune. Each had a unique fighting style. You had the Retiarius, quick and agile with a net and trident trying to ensnare his opponent. Then there was the Secutor, heavily armed with a large shield and sword, relentlessly pursuing his foe. Or the Murmillo, with his fish-crested helmet, a classic Roman legionary style. These pairings were carefully arranged for maximum drama, like a deadly, strategic dance. The fights, or munera, were more than just brutal brawls. They were a display of skill, courage, and discipline. The crowd would go wild, betting on their favorites, cheering for a decisive blow, and ultimately playing a role in the outcome. When a gladiator was defeated, he would raise a finger, appealing for mercy. The decision often fell to the editor of the games, usually the emperor, who would read the mood of the crowd. Thumbs up meant mercy. Thumbs down, well, you know the story. It was a powerful, visceral experience that bonded the citizens of Rome in a shared spectacle of life and death. But the games weren't just about man-to-man combat. Before the main event, the day often started with something even more exotic, the venations, or wild animal hunts. The Romans went to incredible lengths to bring a veritable zoo to the arena. Lions from Mesopotamia, tigers from India, crocodiles from the Nile, bears from Scotland, and rhinos from Africa were all shipped to Rome. These magnificent, terrifying creatures were pitted against each other or against specially trained hunters called bestiarii. Sometimes, the arena floor would be elaborately decorated with rocks and trees to simulate a wild landscape. It was a stunning and admittedly brutal display of the Roman Empire's vast reach and its dominion over the natural world. It was a way of saying, we control everything, even the wildest beasts from the farthest corners of the earth. Now, let's shift gears from the intense drama of the Colosseum to the high-speed, heart-pounding action of the Circus Maximus. If the gladiator games were the ultimate fighting championship, then the chariot races were ancient Rome's Formula One. The Circus Maximus was an enormous, U-shaped stadium, far larger than the Colosseum, capable of holding a staggering 250,000 people. That's a quarter of the city's population, all gathered in one place. The main event was the four-horse chariot race, the Quadriga. Picture 12 chariots, light and rickety, lined up at the starting gates. Each was controlled by a single, fearless charioteer. These drivers weren't just jockeys. They were icons, celebrities with massive fan followings. They raced for one of four main factions, or teams: the Reds, the Whites, the Blues, and the Greens. People were fiercely loyal to their team, much like modern sports fans. They wore their team's colors, sang their chants, and sometimes this rivalry spilled out of the stadium and into the streets. The race itself was pure chaos and adrenaline. 7 laps around the central barrier, the asterisk spina asterisk. The most dangerous and exciting part was the tight turn at each end. Charioteers had to cut it as close as possible to gain an advantage, but one wrong move could lead to a spectacular crash. Asterisk naufragium asterisk, or shipwreck as they called it, where chariots would splinter and horses and drivers would be caught in a deadly pileup. The drivers wrapped the reins around their waists for better control, but this meant if they crashed, they'd be dragged along unless they could cut themselves free with the knife they always carried. It was incredibly dangerous, but the rewards were immense. A successful charioteer could become wealthier than a senator and more famous than a general. It was a path to glory open to anyone, regardless of their background, and the Roman people absolutely loved it. Beyond the Colosseum and the circus, Roman life was punctuated by numerous public holidays and religious festivals known as ****. These weren't just a day off work, they were citywide celebrations sponsored by the state. One of the most famous was the Saturnalia. Held in December, it was a week-long party in honor of the god Saturn. All social norms were turned upside down, businesses and courts closed. Enslaved people were often given temporary freedom, dining with their masters, who would sometimes even serve them. It was a time of feasting, drinking, gambling, and gift-giving. It was a carnivalesque release valve for society, a time when everyone, from the richest patrician to the poorest plebeian, could let loose. It was a festival of light and hope during the darkest time of the year, and many of its traditions, like gift-giving and festive lights, have echoes in our own winter holidays. Another major event was the Lupercalia in February, a wild and ancient fertility festival. It involved priests, called the Luperci, running through the city, playfully striking women with goat hide strips. This was believed to grant fertility and ease childbirth. While it might sound strange to us, it was a deeply ingrained ritual tied to the very founding of Rome and the health of its community. Then there were the theatrical performances. Romans loved a good play, though their tastes differed a bit from the Greek tragedies. They preferred comedies, farces, and mimes that were often bawdy, satirical, and full of slapstick humor. Theaters, like the Theater of Marcellus, were huge, open-air structures. The actors, often wearing exaggerated masks to convey emotion and character to the large audience, would perform stories that poked fun at daily life, mythology, and even politics. It was entertainment for the masses, accessible and relatable. So, why did the Roman state pour so much money and effort into these spectacles? It was a genius strategy known as bread and circuses, a phrase coined by the poet Juvenal. By providing free food, the bread, and massive public entertainment, the circuses, the emperors could keep the massive, often restless population of Rome happy and distracted. A well-fed, entertained populace was less likely to cause trouble or riot. These games were also a powerful form of propaganda. When an emperor sponsored a grand set of games, he was demonstrating his wealth, his generosity, and his power. It reinforced his position and secured the love of the people. It was a public relations masterstroke that helped maintain stability in the heart of a sprawling empire for centuries. From the life-or-death struggles in the Colosseum sand to the thunderous, high-stakes races in the Circus Maximus and the joyful chaos of street festivals, entertainment was the pulse of ancient Rome. It was more than just a pastime. It was a fundamental part of social and political life. It was a spectacle of power, a release for the people, and a glue that held a diverse and massive society together. The scale, the passion, and the sheer drama of Roman entertainment have left a permanent mark on our collective imagination, reminding us that the human need for spectacle and community is as old as civilization itself. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to ancient Rome. If you enjoyed this trip through time, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more historical deep dives, and ring that notification bell. Let me know in the comments which part of Roman entertainment fascinates you the most. Until next time, stay curious.